Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Yonit Arthur. I'm an audiologist and strength coach, and you are on my channel, The Steady Coach. Welcome to Chronic Dizziness Stories number 4. So, in this series, I basically just share with you many of the wonderful, inspiring stories that I hear from you guys. I get these stories via my YouTube channel, via my membership community, via my one-on-one coaching clients, my group coaching clients, and then just some of you email me your stories. So the reason I made this series is because I think that one of the most important forces in your healing is knowing that you're not alone and that you can get better and that people just like you have gotten better. So today we're going to hear from 4 very special people, all of whom have very special stories. And you're going to hear quite a range here in terms of how severe symptoms were and at what point these folks started practicing the techniques that I talk about on my channel and in my free course. So we're going to start with Jared's story here. So Jared says, my journey started in 2019. I remember feeling weird on the last few days of April. I specifically remember watching a boat on TV that triggered me, which was very surprising to me as I'd never felt that way before. I also had a very bad sinus prior to this, and this got progressively worse as time went by. I tried to brush it off and hopefully feel better the next day, but I felt worse. I remember telling myself not to think of the boat sensations I was feeling, but I just couldn't. I felt weird, swaying and rocking sensations along with many others. I visited my GP doctor and he diagnosed me with vertigo. I was very relieved as I did my own research and was sure that this would be gone, but it just got more complicated from here and my life started to crumble. After this, I went on many months of searching and saw multiple people, including ENT specialists, a neurologist, audiologist, vestibular therapist, chiropractor, had blood tests, and went for an MRI scan and a CT scan. Once the MRI came back clear, I knew that something had to be wrong. I became extremely frustrated and wanted to find answers as I could not find out what was wrong with me. My worst symptoms up until this day had to be walking. I felt very weird walking. It felt like I was either falling, tilting, or being pulled to different sides, and always found it so difficult to explain to others. Other symptoms I developed included head pressure, lightheadedness, headaches, sleeping problems, and many more. I started to eventually isolate myself from people and places and would hardly go anywhere because of the fear of the symptoms. I was very depressed, hopeless, and just generally drained. I still continued to do my own research and eventually found out that I had PPPD. It all made sense after this, and I found so much relief in knowing this, but the symptoms still remained constant, having their highs and lows. The symptoms skyrocketed in 2021 as I was completing my final year of high school. I could barely walk, and every single day was a challenge. So pausing here just to note, if you didn't realize, Jared was a teenager when all of this stuff happened. So he was going through all the stuff teenagers go through while he was also dealing with this. So he continues. I also developed very uncomfortable symptoms that weren't related to dizziness, including digestive issues, fatigue, and many others. And by the way, guys, another note here, pausing to say, as you have seen in some of my other videos, these are some of the questions I first ask someone because that's a good sign that something is not right with the nervous system. I also always suffered from anxiety and was a perfectionist, so having to write my final exams with everything that was going on was probably one of the biggest stress I've ever experienced. After this, the symptoms came down, and although it was still present, it wasn't at its peak. I discovered Dr. Yo on YouTube somewhere around February or March this year and began to watch all of her videos. Okay, so here Jared is going to start talking about the free course and thanking me. And I just want to stop before I start reading this and just say it's still so strange to me personally to get thanked for this, because what Jared is about to say is how I was explaining things to him in a way that made sense and that he hadn't heard it before. And as although I'm not downplaying what the videos that I make mean to you guys and how they've helped you, I think that it's awful that that's the case, that you end up needing to come to YouTube to find out what's going on with you, that doctors just aren't able to see you as a whole person and to look at what else might be going on in your life that might be contributing versus just looking at you as a set of symptoms and a diagnosis. Okay. So Jared then took the free course and he says, and simply from watching to these videos and applying what she said to my life, I saw massive improvement. I really resonated with her, and no doctor or health professional had ever explained everything like her or made sense of this condition like she did. I joined the community in April and saw the biggest improvement I'd ever seen in almost 3 years with my physical symptoms. I still have symptoms up until this day, and I'm far from being recovered, but my journey is not over and I've made huge progress. I cannot thank Dr. Yo enough for her work and for providing us with this information to help us heal from this invisible condition. I'm so glad that I found her YouTube channel and will be forever thankful to her. My heart goes out to anyone that has this condition, and I hope that by hearing this story, you will have hope that healing is possible and things do get better. So thank you, Jared, for those kind words. And it means so much to me personally to hear this. And I'm thankful to you for paying it forward and letting me share your story, because ultimately I can say anything I want to say, right? But knowing that there are people out there like you who are going to hear this story from you and know that there actually is hope and that this is something that you can totally get better from, that's going to make a huge difference. So thank you so much for that, Jared. And thank you so, so much for agreeing to share your story. Oh, so awesome. And it's been also an amazing time getting to know you as well in the community. I love doing that too. Okay, so our next story is actually also coming from one of my community members. And this one is another doozy, so buckle up. We're going to hear from Sherry here. So Sherry writes the following. My dizziness started in January 2021, right after I got COVID-19. A little background, I had severe childhood trauma and abuse until the age of 18. Since then, my life has been pretty good. I have a wonderful husband. We've been together since I was 17 and I'm 53. 3 children in their 20s, and up until my dizziness, a wonderful career as an accountant and teacher. I'm on the spectrum, highly functioning, a type A personality, a traditional wife who takes care of everything, and a hypersensitive person who is constantly on alert due to what happened in my childhood. Over the years, I have learned to block out any feelings that might be painful, and I do overreact when I feel others attack me. During the COVID shutdown, our school district chose to stay in person, and I was required to teach both online and in person at the same time, high school math and personal finance. I was under lots of stress, not only due to the lack of support from our administration and the wrath of unsettled parents, but also because I was scared of contracting COVID. My husband is a first responder and was on the front lines during the pandemic. My oldest daughter was in New York City in the middle of the worst of both COVID and riots. My youngest was also working at the school with me, and worst of all, my son had lung surgery before COVID hit, and I was so afraid that one of us would spread the virus to him. I ended up in the ER twice with symptoms of a possible stroke or heart attack, but both times they were stress-related. My blood pressure was high, and my anxiety was beyond my control. So this is the context before Sherry got dizzy. Okay, so you can just imagine what kind of stress her nervous system was under before the dizziness kicked in. 6 months into the school year, Sherry says, I caught COVID from a student. Although I was quarantined at home and was sick, I still taught my classes via Microsoft Teams, and after about 1 week, I had a vertigo spell and a huge panic attack. The doctor I saw put me on Zoloft and blood pressure medication. I hated being on either, so after a few weeks, I went off all medication. Over the next few months, I visited 18 different specialists, including neurologists, ENTs, optometrists, rheumatologists, physical therapists, cardiologists, neck and spine doctor, dentists, OBGYN, and had every possible test done, including MRIs, CAT scans, blood work every 2 weeks, DNG testing, extensive eye exams, x-rays, and so much more. Wow. All came back with no answers. Every doctor I went to had no explanation and put the blame on COVID. During this time, we also sold our house of 22 years and had to move into a rental within 3 weeks. I had to quit teaching due to the dizziness, and I spent months sitting on my couch crying. I was not able to walk without help. I couldn't be in the dark and had to have every curtain open and all the lights on 24/7. I didn't eat. I lost 40 pounds in just 2 months. I was unable to look at a TV, computer, phone, or even read without my dizziness getting worse. At one time, I even lost the will to live and just wanted to die. My family was so supportive and they took such good care of me and tried so hard to keep up my hopes. My doctors gave me anti-anxiety meds and I ended up with so many bottles of benzos. I didn't want to take any of them because I'm so afraid of addiction since my parents were drug addicts. Being outside in the sunshine was the only place I felt better, but in Arizona, that was impossible in the summer. Whew, so, yeah. And for those of you listening, I hope that hearing Sherry's story so far is helping you feel seen also. So, people who see my channel come from many different backgrounds and have many different experiences of dizziness. Some of you may be experiencing it only occasionally. Some of you may be experiencing it 24/7 like Sherry did. But the point is not to see who had it worse or who had it better. The point is that you can be this far in despair and still get better, because I promise that's coming in Sherry's story right now. Okay, so Sherry says, I found a great physical therapist who helped me with my dizziness, and after a few months, I was able to take walks and empty the dishwasher without falling over. Even then, I was still dizzy 24/7, but there was nothing else she could do. I cried all the time. I tried mental health therapy and I was still a mess. I was a shell of the person I used to be. I lost all self-esteem and I could see no hope for the future. I went from being everyone's favorite teacher, loving wife, awesome mom, big sister, highly educated, and fully functional to a person who couldn't even fix dinner, walk to the mailbox, drive, or wash my hair. I was on several social media groups and someone posted about Dr. Yo. I started watching her videos and signed up for the free course. Within a few weeks, I had hope and my symptoms were slowly starting to ease up. I started meditating, breathing, and journaling, although I don't really like to journal and still don't. I'm with you, Sherry. A lot of people don't. My doctors had also come up with some answers in that my muscles got so tensed up during COVID that they never relaxed and were in a constant state of flexed. I had inflammation that had not subsided since I got COVID. Basically, my body was in a constant state of fight or flight for over 12 months. So a lot of the stuff that we talk about here on the channel, right? That fight or flight can lead to all of those things, both dizziness symptoms and a lot of muscle tension, which can also often lead to pain. Sherry continues. However, there wasn't any medication that could fix it. I had to learn to relax, she says in quotation marks, and deal with what was causing all of this. Since the end of May, I have moved to another state, started building a new home, sent my youngest off to grad school, and left not only all my doctors behind in Arizona, but also my support group. It has been a huge challenge, but a wonderful adventure. I have continued with our online community that Dr. Yo has established. I have joined a small group with her. Sherry's referring to my small group coaching. And she continues, found a physical therapist who is working on my muscle tension, started acupuncture for my anxiety, started reading. Yes, I can now read for about 20 minutes at a time. The book, The Body Keeps the Score. Highly recommended, by the way, if you're interested in learning how trauma affects the body. And I'm learning more about the IFS therapy system. So here Sherry is referring to internal family systems, which is sometimes used as a mode of therapy, but is I like to think of it more of as kind of a philosophical framework for just kind of understanding how the human mind operates. And if you want to learn more about that, you can look up internal family systems. So Sherry says, my symptoms of dizziness and anxiety have decreased by about 80% and are an average of a 1 to 2 on a scale of 10. I can drive, read, work on the computer, clean my house, wash my hair, take 30-minute walks alone, grocery shop, talk with small groups of people, watch TV, practice yoga, although the ups and downs still get to me a bit, and so much more. I am not fully healed, but I can function, which is more than I thought I would ever be able to do again. I still have 24/7 dizziness, but the majority of the time it's under 1. I still have dips and anxiety attacks, but both are manageable and shorter each day. I am making the connections between this condition and my childhood trauma and hopefully learn to close that Pandora's box that COVID opened up. The support of Dr. Yo and the community has helped me tremendously. I can now see a future where I can finally visit my daughter in New York, go to a movie theater, and hopefully one day Disneyland. My advice to share is breathe, relax, and let go of the unimportant things. Meditate, talk about what you are going through to those who care about you, walk, and take it one day at a time. Don't give up. You will get better. Wow, right? I'm again so grateful to Sherry for allowing me to share this story publicly with you guys. No matter where you are in what you're going through right now, if Sherry can do it, you can do it too. Thank you, Sherry. It's been such an honor getting to know you, and thank you so much for letting me share your story. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to share 2 little bit different stories here. So remember I said at the beginning that the stories were going to kind of occur along a spectrum. You'd see some folks who've had really severe symptoms, and you're going to see people who recovered over a very long period. And sometimes you're going to see people who have less obnoxious or less severe symptoms and recover over shorter periods of time, or who reach the course in different phases in their recovery. So first, we're going to hear now from Ella. So Ella took my Healing Chronic Dizziness course and was kind enough to just share her story so that others could hear it. So Ella says, "Hi, Dr. Yo." Hi, Ella. "I would like to share my story for anyone who may be in the thick of it, as I know how hopeful stories like this provided me with so much relief. I started to get symptoms of dizziness in March of 2022 after a nature walk. I felt like I was rocking back and forth even though I was staying still. For some context, this was a period in my life where I had gone through a health scare and had been discharged from the hospital a few weeks prior to this. During the health scare, I took it, or so I thought, very calmly and in stride and let things happen without resistance. After the day I experienced dizziness for the first time, I've never felt these kinds of sensations before. I thought it would just go away or could be a side effect of some of the medications I was taking. However, after consultations with my doctor and an ENT, they could not really give me answers, and dizziness symptoms persisted. I also did do all the tests like a brain MRI, many blood tests, ultrasounds, and the doctors did not find anything wrong with me. Dizziness for me felt different every day. Some days it was rocking, some days it was like turbulence in the airplane being pulled in multiple directions. It was definitely awful and interfered with my daily life. Hence, with no answers from others, I took to researching online and stumbled across your channel through another YouTuber who shared about their experience. Your videos and free course opened my mind to neural circuit dizziness and what a game changer was specifically that dizziness is a symptom that maybe I hadn't processed certain things happening in my life. Maybe I've been resisting certain emotions and feelings, and also the way I was perceiving my dizziness as something wrong with me rather than how is the dizziness actually helping me. Your breathing videos also helped me immensely whenever anxiety would crop up about the dizziness, particularly on my walks, to compassionately challenge myself to get back to daily life and do the things I enjoyed. I did daily journaling, asking the question, what is dizziness trying to tell me today? Practiced compassion and challenged myself to get back to easy, normal activities. Wow. Wow, Ella. So awesome. So awesome here. So I don't think that everyone on this channel who's watching this right now might understand that sentiment. Is the dizziness trying to do something for me? It just sucks. And that's okay if you're not there. If that's not resonating with you, no worries. But what Ella's getting at here is that the dizziness is serving some kind of function. Your brain's not dumb. It's doing it for a reason. And it may be misfiring. So it may be giving you symptoms when it shouldn't, but it's trying to signal something to you that something's not right. So, what a beautiful way to answer that question or to ask that question of yourself and see what might actually be bothering you in life. Okay, so Ella continues. I also did see a neurologist who suggested I was experiencing vestibular migraine. However, he was not 100% certain as I did not fit all the boxes. However, I did not let the lack of a clear diagnosis hinder me. He provided me with some migraine medication that I think in the end did help, although I can't be 100% sure. I'm happy to say with your videos, my daily practices, and getting medical help, as of June 2022, I have been feeling 100% symptom free. I still have some other health issues, but happy to say I don't experience dizziness symptoms anymore. Thank you so much for the work you do. This has been one of the most difficult things I've had to battle, as it is such a life-altering symptom that can impact daily activities. And for those who may be experiencing it, hope and self-compassion, I would say, were the game changers for me. Wishing everyone a positive recovery. Ella, that was so lovely. Thank you so much. And I hope you are out there just living your life. And I do hope that maybe you see this video since you're in it, but maybe you're not watching my channel anymore because you're good. And that would be awesome. So that's what I hope for all of you guys, not to have to watch me anymore because you're feeling better. Wonderful. So we've got one more story today, and just a wonderful, hopeful note to end this on. Jessica shared her story also after finishing the Healing Chronic Dizziness course, and again, was just kind enough to allow me to share this with you. So Jessica says, I would be happy to share my experience with anyone who is struggling with chronic dizziness, as I know just how much it affects your life, and I really empathize with those who are struggling. I came here to complete the free course, already being 90% recovered. I'd been sitting at about 85 to 90% for about 6 to 7 months, and I thought, surely this isn't it. Surely this isn't the best it can get. I figured out early that PPPD is significantly related to stress. So Jessica was way ahead of the game on that, right? And in order to recover, I had to address certain things in my life, get better care of myself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. So that I did. I knew exactly what caused my onset. I just didn't know what I could do about my past experiences and stresses to help me reach 100% recovery. And I still didn't have a full understanding of why I was still feeling anxious, even when I wasn't doing anything to make me anxious. I understood the relationship between fight, flight, freeze response in the brain and the nervous system, but again, just didn't know how I could help my brain get out of its constant high alert state so I could feel safe and secure in my environment all the time. I put into daily practice certain things that would help calm those anxious feelings, but I just knew I wasn't fully addressing the issues because I could feel it in my body. Those anxious feelings were always there, even if subtle. After this course, I have learned that my brain has been interpreting even the smallest things as danger, things that I would never have even imagined it would. It was a bit of an aha moment for me. Okay, so that's why I feel anxious for no apparent reason sometimes. I can work with that now because I'm aware of why that's happening. This course has also provided me with some fantastic suggestions on ways to deal with my past stresses, feelings of anger, guilt, and regret, and taught me that loving, forgiving, and appreciating yourself is a vital part of the healing process. These were the big ones for me because I knew I had to address them. I just didn't know how. And it is something I will definitely be practicing over the coming weeks. Even just reading the material and having that additional support, I felt made a difference to my perspective on reaching full recovery. And for this, I sincerely thank you. You are so welcome, Jessica. So welcome. And I'm so happy that for someone like you who came in very knowledgeable, it was still valuable for you to take the course. So that's absolutely wonderful. And I wish you 100% recovery. So thank you again to all four of you, Jared, Sherry, Ella, and Jessica. Thank you so much for sharing your stories and allowing me to, again, share them publicly so others can hear them and learn from them and know that they too can get better. And this is totally possible because real people do it all the time. So if you would like to share your story, I will link below to a form where you can submit it. I'd love to hear from you. And I really appreciate you tuning in today. So if you enjoyed this video, please let me know. I will do more of these if I know that you guys enjoy them. So you can let me know you enjoyed it by leaving a comment or a question. You can also like, share, and of course, please subscribe to my channel. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.